Buddy, thank you so much for joining us today. See, I thought you were going to be on your camera.
Well, I can be on my camera, but now I've set up your lighting and the angle for yours. I don't know how much bandwidth we have to run two people at the same time. But
are you going to try to share the stories from yours?
Yeah, that's exactly.
And we'll just use this camera, but you are logged in and you can do that.
Yeah, I think so. Should work.
Okay. Let's give it a try. Go to a story real quick. But thank you for joining us at this special day and special time. Yes, Federalist. There it goes. It took over my screen though. Because I think you're just logged in as the command center. So as we figure this out, the Restream app has decided to make an update or a revision with their new version, a meta version, a trial version, a beta test version. I think it forced us into this today, or someone changed the settings. In either way, a few things are not where they're supposed to be. So bear with us as we are here. Take that off the screen. Get back to us, please.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, Illinois, Chicago, to be specific. Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us here on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. This is the Agree to Disagree show, and I feel like it's very important, Blake, that we continue the message, the theme of the Agree to Disagree show, where we're supposed to have more conversations with people we don't agree with and listen to what they have to say. And not everything has to be a conversation where we win them over, convince them they were wrong. Well, you know, that thing you just repeated, that's fraudulent, that's incorrect. And we could do that all day. Or sometimes we just vacuum up content and conversations, Blake. I don't know. What are your thoughts about agreeing to disagree this week and having conversations with people? How's your experience been?
It's been very interesting so far. I mean, we just got here, it seems like. So yeah, Sunday night arrival. Get ready for Monday and the big protest. The March on the DNC is a pro-Palestine event, and yeah, we covered that. You can catch the videos that we have been posting, please. But not so much this afternoon. Much going on. There's going to be another event tonight. We'll see what happens Wednesday. There's also a second pro-Palestine march on Thursday at 5 o'clock. So I'm sure we'll be covering that as well. And we'll see if we can get closer to the United Center. They got the perimeter set up. It's kind of hard to get close. Unfortunately, that would be good to get some men on the street interviews in front of the hotel where all the events, the main events for the party, are taking place. But so far, there's plenty of action on the streets. So, and there's already, hey, they're trying to recreate this like it's 1968 again, back in Chicago. I don't know if things are going to escalate to that level, but we will find out soon. So.
We will. Just the concept of, libertarian convention in D.C. that we attended, we had more in common with people at that convention. At the RNC, we might have had more in common with people at that convention. We were at a rally. It was very specific. They're not fans of the war that Hamas started or that Israel started 70 years ago by existing in that space. We're not going to dig into those scabbed wounds because there's no fixing it. But Blake, what is your... How does it feel being here, trying to engage in conversation? Do you feel like people are open? They're very closed off compared to the other conventions?
I'd say maybe a little bit. It's hard to say. I want to talk to the actual attendees of this DNC event, the delegates, people like that. Yeah, I like to find people that I might not agree with. I want to get their opinions. There was plenty yesterday, but I think a lot of it was kind of, focused primarily on, Palestine, Israel, that sort of thing. So, Brian got a lot of footage and talked to some interesting people that he would normally not agree with. So, yeah, having a civil conversation with other people, trying to get on the same page. No, unfortunately, it seems to be impossible to get people to change their mind in one setting. I think we, humanity as a civilization, would go so much further if we were capable of that. But nobody ever seems to want to admit when they're wrong or say, hey, maybe that's a good point. I'll consider that. Sometimes you got to plant seeds, and sometimes those take a long time to develop, if ever. And we found that kind of frustration as we've been as divided as ever as we are here in the United States. So I'm losing my optimism, but it's still great to be here for this historical event.
It is. And check out the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show on all the platforms. Follow Blake on X. He's at TV's Blake Walley. The New American Media is at American_media_. Blake's other channel is called The Next Level News.
YouTube pulled that one, and they have basically destroyed my regular Blake Walley or Eccentric Perspective channel. Is no more. I can't even post my website on there. That's what I tried to do today. The Next Level News and said, sorry, you got to have an established history. It's like, I've been on there for like 12 years. But they have taken away my advanced features, and they are punishing me, as they always have. And it's very frustrating. So
it is strange times, but thenextlevelnews.com is still operating.
Yeah, it's still there for the archive.
That's where you can find his stuff. If the other places remove it permanently, go to thenextlevelnews.com. All right. Well, real quick here, Blake, let's kind of rude tube, Kenneth. They are rude. Rude tube, of course. On today's program, we're going to talk about the DNC speeches. Are they, if you independently fact check them in real time, what do you get? We're going to ask Kamala Harris, is she afraid to have a debate with Donald Trump? Is the FBI hiding records of the Trump assassination to cover it up? Western civilizations, are they going to end due to illegal migrant invasion? Is a photo identification necessary? Well, or it's not. It's burdensome. Unless you're trying to get into the DNC, we'll talk about that. Also, does it make sense to release violent prisoners to make room for thought criminals? Well, that's a fun story, Blake. We saw that. I mean, like, they're actually doing this. We're going to unpack it. Also, what determines biological sex? Chromosomes or feelings? We're kind of still getting through this Olympic season, figuring out what we just witnessed and who actually won a medal in boxing. It's just the story that never ends. So we'll unpack that. Also, 10-year-olds, are they perfectly capable of choosing their own gender? So we're going to kind of get into some of these stories. First, what I would like to do is what we like to call the lightning round, because there's so much happening that did not make the stack. So let's make sure we are actually sharing this. Yes, we are. See, it's weird though, Blake, because I don't have my screen in addition to this one. I should be in a box.
Right.
Oh, I guess there it is.
One of the other ones, yeah.
There it is.
Or the far right one.
Well, with that, it gets a little weird.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right.
Strikes around one screen.
So here, let's do this. It's a lightning round, and I think some of these stories that are not in the stack are actually better than some of the ones that are. So we're going to take a moment here and rock and roll through these. All right, Blake. I don't know. Just quick, off the top of your head, if I say who's more popular, J.D. Vance or Kamala Harris?
More popular? That's a tough one. I guess Kamala, because she's the front runner and she's already been VP, whereas J.D. Vance was somewhat of an unknown until a month or so ago when he became on the short list for Trump's VP candidates and secured it. And so he's been an interesting character, but overall, I'd have to say Kamala has been more popular and in the public eye for longer.
Yeah, but I would disagree. I would say that the longer she's in the public eye, the less people like her. J.D. Vance, they were able to paint him a certain way with a couple of comments, and as they do, binders full of women. I mean, they can slander and slur anybody on the right, and they always do. But no, I don't think Kamala's remotely likable or popular in any way.
It's sad when they're like digging up like old like high school and college videos, like I care what he did when he was early 20-something.
All right.
Stupid things, but unfortunately, yeah, they had cameras in their generation. Fortunately,
yeah,
we did not, Brian. We just kind of missed that.
Thankfully,
yeah.
I don't know how we were so fortunate. It's all right. We've left a breadcrumb trail a mile long.
Right.
Okay, I want to play this, Blake, because this might be the top story, and this might be the most significant story for the next 4 years. Here we go.
There's two options that
This is Nicole Shanahan, the vice presidential nominee with RFK Jr.
we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
She almost seems on the verge of tears, Blake. What do you think of this one? Are you surprised to hear that they are considering this?
No, they know that they're not going to win, so they were going to try to, make a deal somewhere. Now, there were rumors that RFK was trying to set up a meeting with Kamala and their crew to perhaps get a, cabinet position somewhere. I don't know if that was actually true. He did request a meeting, but he's already had meetings with Trump, and it's time to, see what you can do, because you're only polling, I don't know. I think at most he was getting like 10%. I think he's probably hurt himself with like the
well off of that now.
And there's a few things, but even if it was 2%, I mean, that's still a significant amount of people that could change the outcome of this election potentially if people go along with whoever he's making a deal with. But it would obviously make more sense for him to team up with Trump, because he is the populist. And you don't want to go with the establishment candidate, with the DNC and the people that have destroyed, his uncle, his father. You should avoid that at all costs. He much better fit with the Trump administration, and that could be a significant get if that can happen. I think he could get a cabinet position. I wouldn't have any issue with that. I don't think a lot of Trump MAGA people would have him. A problem with him getting a cabinet position, but we would if he joined the dark side and went with the Kamala, the establishment DNC. That would be very, very bad for everybody, including him. He'd be throwing his reputation away.
Right. I want to first say hello to Jocelyn.
Hello.
Yes.
Long time no see. Good to have you.
Yeah. Best wishes for you. We're praying for a good outcome with your PET scan. It's great to have you. For as much time as we have. We are probably, Blake and I have been bartenders for a long time. So belly up to the bar. Come on up, sit down. We're talking here. We're having a conversation.
Oh, wow.
Let's hear what you have to say.
In the hospital now, listening to our show, if I am reading this correctly. Wow. Thank you very much. Well, I can only hope things go as well as they can. I know you've had some medical setbacks, so.
Yeah, good to have you here.
Hope for the best.
Regarding RFK, I mean, Blake, the Democrats have the Green Party. Isn't there a Peace and Love Party? They have like 5 or 6, 7 weird, like fringe, like
Cornell,
minuscule parties.
Yeah.
There still is
Green Party.
There still is a Democrat protest vote with the Green Party or some of those. There's really no Republican protest vote, right? I mean, maybe libertarian, but like.
That's unfortunate. I can see libertarians should be joining with Trump, not throwing it away. That's maybe disappointing with like the protest yesterday. Like they're clearly anti-Trump. They're both clearly anti-both, but they would probably vote for Marianne Williamson, if I'm guessing, or maybe Cornel West.
Well, regarding this opportunity here, Brian Cates says, there's about 11 to 12 million new fraud votes that they have to invent out of thin air now. I'm telling you, they can't do it. They can't steal an election where key counties have 130% voter participation rate. I mean, it would be mammoth if RFK Jr. drops and endorses Trump. I would never vote for RFK Jr., but I respect the balls on the man that's going to say, oh, you mean the treacherous deep state killed my uncle and my dad? Well, fuck you, double barrel. I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to be jacked at 70, and I'm just going to be fighting the system. I don't like all of his positions. I don't like anybody's positions in totality. Let's be fair. If you're north of 70%, you're a hero in my eyes, because most people get a lot of stuff wrong. But I would love RFK Jr. running our food, our water, trying to like figure out how to get us healthy, banning treacherous chemicals that are inside of our food supply every time we turn around. I think RFK Jr. could have a real strong presence, Blake, in the next administration if he decided to team up and coalesce, just like the DNC did when everybody hated Biden, everybody hated Harris, until one day they all dropped out and rallied behind Biden Harris. The Republicans don't do that. They've had their own internal civil war. MAGA defeated the rhinos, the neocons, and pushed a lot of them, like the Liz Cheneys and the Adam Kinzingers, into the Democrat Party. Scooby-Doo mask off. You were never Republican. You were never small government. You were never pro-civil liberty. But the Republicans don't generally coalesce. They don't usually build their infrastructure and their cabinet in advance. I wish they'd taken some notes from the Democrats who have done that. What say you?
No, because the Democrats act like it's tribalism. They're a cult. And they just don't have independent thought, and they can't express independent thought without being excommunicated from the collective. So they're kind of stuck. That's bad. I wouldn't want to see that. But at the same time, yeah, it's different when you have Republicans, conservatives, libertarians, a lot of independent thinkers that are going to be purists in their own way and stay true to themselves. But if they could all compromise and get with one candidate, that would be ideal.
Yeah, I would like Bobby in the Trump administration. I would like Vivek in the Trump administration. I would like the Trump promise of, if you elect me, what Trump said to the Libertarian Convention in DC a couple months ago that we attended and filmed. Go find that on YouTube and Rumble. He said, look, I want to put libertarians in my cabinet. It will pull the direction of the Trump agenda, the directional bend. It would drag that closer to libertarian, and closer to libertarian is what we want. We need smaller government. We need more protection of our civil liberties. We just need smarter decisions and less money laundering. I mean, we need a stronger dollar. We need less inflation. Like there's got to be a better way than what we've seen for the past 3.5 years. And I don't know. I hope, Blake, we're out of time. If RFK is going to do this, this would be a great time, because the early voting starts very soon. Very soon.
Yeah, it's time. We'll see. Maybe after this convention wraps up, or maybe it would be interesting to make those headlines this week. We shall see.
Speaking of making headlines this week, this is Biden speaking. What do you make of this?
Committed to strengthening legal immigration. Kamala and I are committed to strengthening legal immigration. Kamala and I are committed to strengthening legal immigration. Kamala and I are committed to strengthening legal immigration.
Now, is that a Biden flub, or is that Biden saying that they're trying to strengthen illegal immigration? They're saying that it's strengthening illegal immigration, or was that just a Bidenism, like a...
Oh, it could be. He could have messed up because he looks like he's reading directly off the teleprompter.
He looks
He's reading
angry.
it too fast, and he needs to slow down. But yeah, he's lost his mental thought.
What's that one, Steve Carell?
Yeah.
Or Jim Carrey, or they're trying to like read the script. I don't know what that
was
whatever movie that was.
Paranormal thing with yes.
I think Steve
Almighty,
Carell.
Bruce Almighty or something.
Wait, I think one was Bruce Almighty and the other one was it Anchorman?
No.
It might have been. Whatever it was.
With Jim Carrey, that movie.
No. There's one of Steve Carell. That's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, he was in a cameo. He was in the news studio and he was messing with him.
So that's the question. Was that a Freudian slip by Joe, or are they trying to strengthen illegal immigration? I mean, look, it is what it is. And from the Bronx to Chicago, people are not happy about funds that should be going to Americans going to other people. This is an interesting video I found.
I think I just might change my name on here to Liberals Nightmares, because shit, I bring nothing but cold hard facts and they fucking hate it. I'll keep this one short for you. And just so you know, you might want to share it, because I guarantee it ain't gonna be on here for long, but I don't give a fuck. If you're black in Chicago and still voting for Democrat, you're a fucking idiot. So not only did they flood your fucking neighborhoods with illegals, but they gave them money, food, and a place so they can hibernate and fuck like rabbits and breed up. But now, they just came and parked a fucking mobile Planned Parenthood RV to provide free abortions and vasectomy in your overly black populated neighborhoods because they just really love you, right? So they bring in your replacement. They fund their repopulation and then bring in something for your depopulation. And you're still saying Walls, Harris, Walls 2024. You're dumb. You're dumb.
No minced words there, Blake. Thoughts on that one?
Interesting, yeah, because they talk about the great replacement theory. It's this racist theory, and they're trying to get rid of like white nationalist Republicans and replace them with immigrants. But no, they're actually just getting rid of the Democrats themselves and replacing them with different Democrats.
It is weird.
Love to go along with the system just as much as they do, but it's very it's disturbing. But yeah, it's like they're cheering on their own demise. I don't get it. They're not seeing the future unfolding for them.
Self-preservation seems a little lost.
They haven't looked in the mirror. Yeah, right. I might want to consider that.
Speaking of considering some of the progress since Biden-Harris took office, gas is up 50%, electricity 32%, oil 49%. That's awesome. Airfare 23%, hotels 52%, groceries 22%. Eating out 23%, baby food 30%.
Eating out's only 23%. I'm shocked.
It's gotta be
going to the restaurants and things.
60% higher.
Yeah, it sounds like it. More
Dude,
like
we got a little cheese platter, a pretzel, and 3 beers yesterday. It was $50.
Damn.
It's just that's not. We went grocery shopping, spent $270 on just a couple of bags. That's insane. That's like 2 months worth of food. No, it's like a week of food. And we might run out and might need to get some more. So remember.
Because of you, and I'm not exaggerating, because of you, we've had one of the most extraordinary 4 years of progress ever, period.
There you go. Is that progress, Blake, that we've been witnessing? This is progress, the devaluation of our dollar, progress, failing to make ends meet. This is progress.
An economic disaster, and they're talking about what price controls, like in grocery stores. I mean, yeah, but you look at all of the other fields that are affected by that. So what are you going to do? Price controls on everything? Then we're in full-blown communism.
Well, take a look at this. This is the superimposed image. This is when the barrier was breached yesterday. The Secret Service barrier around the United Center. Joe Biden allegedly goes off script from his teleprompter. And he talks about pro-Palestine protesters who are outside of the DNC convention, Blake. Here's his thoughts.
End this war.
Wrong words. Can you get it done? Wrong words.
Those protesters out in the street, they have a point. A lot of innocent people are being killed. On both sides.
Oh, on both sides. Blake, that's eerily reminiscent of fine people on both sides, that hoax.
Right.
That Biden himself just repeated again, so he can piss off for good. Because that's one of the most racially divisive, blatantly fraudulent things that anybody could slander someone with, saying they think neo-Nazis are fine people. Never happened. That's a hoax. But yeah, he got dangerously close to saying there are people there with good points, both sides.
Well, yeah,
he's really in a tough spot here, Blake. Nothing he says is going to make these sides happy.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the captions and one of the questions of the day.
Good. Let's get to that.
In real time. I guess we could
Do you have
add to it because that's pretty much what it was. And yeah, it's interesting because when I think they cut off, was it Trump's at the RNC? There was some of the Trump speech recently, a prominent one, and MSNBC and CNN. They've been this habit of like pulling away from the coverage, and then they're complaining about how that has to be like fact checked in real time. But who's going to fact check them? So it'd be nice if we had an independent organization, because the Democrats got away with a lot of shit last night, and including that one. Even Snopes has long debunked that one, the fine people hoax.
I can't believe
it. They keep repeating the same things because nobody calls them out on it. they're never going to retract it on their own network. So they just keep everybody in their own bubble. But yeah, it'd be great if we had an independent fact, real independent, and both sides, whatever that may be. But the Democrats need to be held accountable too.
It'd be great if, like, the jobs of the fact checkers, you only got paid if, like, a plurality of people upvote your determination. Like umpires would only get paid if, like, they hit 90% in the strike zone as judged by this and that. Like, wouldn't that be interesting? The quality of your work determines your pay.
There you go.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to share about the independent fact checking in real time? Because we could take that off the big board since we found it a little early. So let me know if you had anything else you wanted to put there. Blake, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just finding a few of these items. I don't know if there's
all right. We'll take a
specific order that I was looking for, but yeah, it was interesting. Day one of the national convention and several of the speeches, and I know was it Trump Vance campaign? They've released the DNC's most outrageous moments from day one, but a lot of these are all hyperlinked. But there's a collection of them, so they have been made notes of them all, and of course. I know I had one more out of the Federalist.
It's not showing up on the screen here. Or are you just trying to give the update from there?
Well,
this is new. We normally each have a laptop in front of us.
Screen,
right?
So yeah, it's for remote reporting on the road. So whatever. But anyway, there's plenty of things to dig in, including that some of those hoaxes that have already been long debunked.
Long debunked.
Still keep pushing. So.
Let me play this for you. This is a criticism, if you will, on MSNBC that made it to air somehow about what they're seeing day one with the Democratic National Convention. So Blake, that's the strategy. Just she's pretending that she didn't have a seat in power for the last 4 years. It's baffling.
Yeah.
She is the border czar. They advertised that. They were excited about that. They were happy to give her a very prominent role in government, and she shit the bed. Just complete, or she did exactly as they intended, which this is a game plan. This is a strategy. It's not accidental that people are flooding here. It's a plan.
Yeah, it seems to be. This is a very astroturf campaign, and Kamala is quite phony and unlikable. And they keep trying to hype her up as, she's this great American that came up through the system. But she is also, or she's even been criticized from her own party about this. Trying to elect a president who's for the middle class because she's from the middle class. They're trying to peddle her off as Black when she's actually East Indian, half Jamaican, which is cool. But she's also her father was a professor at Stanford. Her mother was a biomedical scientist at UC Berkeley. So, she's middle class, privileged, not really your typical, not like, even Obama.
I think AOC's getting dragged today. She was claiming that her house was in foreclosure, and they're saying that never happened, sweetheart. I don't know. I'm surprised that a politician would flub and fake some shit. I'm super surprised by that, Blake. Super surprised. I want to share this with you real quick. This is on the campaign trail. People just, I don't like Donald Trump. Bad idea. He's a racist. Okay, well, hold on. How about some ideas? Here's an idea. Would this help America or hurt America? I agree with that 100%, Blake. I was mortified to find out when COVID was happening how much of our supply is coming from China and anywhere else. Like when you need medicine, life-saving infrastructure, equipment, replacement, like that stuff needs to be built in your own country. You're the one that looking out for your own citizens. We cannot be at the mercy of a third party, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's exactly what the problem was during that COVID thing. Yeah, and it was like, well, okay, we got to rely on China to get stuff, and we have this huge country, and we're not doing any manufacturing here. Should have at least some of it. Have the supply chain and the infrastructure here just in case. But we should all.
Absolutely. This is some footage, Blake. This is when some of the protesters breached the security barrier. There's the United Center in the background. People got in there. People moved around, right? People saw a little bit and they were pushed out relatively quickly. How long would you say people were past that barricade when people went through before they got pushed back? Maybe
about 25 minutes.
Okay, close to maybe a half hour.
Yeah.
They were never really in danger of losing the area. It was very well staffed and it quickly coalesced, crunched, and pushed everyone out. Really avoided violence. That was good. You know, I was concerned about getting too close if they were a little overly aggressive with knocking a few canisters, some paintballs, some pepper balls,
They
or
had them out, so they took them out.
I.
They were ready, but they were restrained.
Yeah, they were restrained, and that's good. And just like in the Bronx for the President Trump speech there, where we ran into you as well.
Yeah.
We got a buddy off camera. He's like, no, I'm not going to get on the show, but we'll talk to him off air. But yeah, we were in the Bronx as well, and the police force was out there very fast, and they just stood ground, put some barriers in place, and almost dared somebody to be super stupid, and nobody took the bait, and everyone was able to go home unmolested. Like that's the American system of show up, speak your mind, and don't get punched, don't get hit, don't get abused, right?
There were maybe 2 or 3 arrests in that area.
Okay, 2 or 3 arrests that inside. Most of the people got out. What happened to those 2 or 3? I don't know what they were doing. I don't know. Did they earn it? Did they earn their arrests?
They laid on the ground. They said they weren't moving.
Oh, they laid on the ground like a protest kind of thing. Okay, like an intentional civil disobedience type of thing. Yeah, but kudos to the cops. But here's the thing. All this proves is that during the 2020 Summer of Love, any of these Minneapolis, New York, Los Angeles, Kenosha, they could have controlled their city if they wanted to. They didn't want to. And I watched our country burning as Kamala Harris is fundraising for the Minnesota Freedom Fund to bail out the people that are setting fires and injuring people. And I didn't understand. It felt like such a failure to me. There's very few things I want my politicians to do, just very minimal, but kind of maintain the lack of burning buildings to kind of prevent chaos. I don't know. Do you get the same feeling that they could have if they wanted to?
Yeah, definitely. It's it's what they want to do and how they want to do it.
Yeah, there's
just like J6.
Oh yeah, just like J6.
Just like J6.
You got exactly what they wanted on that. There's a song by Sublime. We were talking about Sublime a moment ago. Bradley Noel, the founder of Sublime, the singer, his son has replaced him in the band now. So he's the singer, guitar player now. But April 29th, 1992, there was a riot on the streets. Tell me, where were you? You were sitting home watching your TV while I was participating in some anarchy. But at the end of that song, it's let it burn, wanna let it burn, wanna let it burn, wanna let it burn. And they want to let it burn. That's exactly the Democrat plan in 2020. They wanted it. They wanted to pin it on Trump and racist. And look, there was a cop. And don't you support the guy? Not that guy. They wanted it. They pushed for it. They got it. But this just shows 2 things to me. Number one, barriers and barricades work. So anyone who's against a border wall or the sovereignty of your own nation, look, barriers and barricades work. Fences work. Although I don't know what outlet is going to sell you a fence that can be disassembled from the outside. Who in the world designed this fence? Who in the world purchased this fence? What company is this? It's just they lifted it up off the hinges and tossed it away in multiple locations. I don't know. If they wanted to keep America secure, they could keep America secure. Fences work. IDs are not racist because you have to have an ID to get into the DNC. The stuff that they put out forward, Blake, the political stuff that they push for. What do you say about the fences and the IDs? The Democrats keep going on their TV shows saying, "Oh, you can't do that. That's not who we are." But they're doing all of that at the convention.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy. It's us and them. Yeah, you're them.
It's us and them.
They have
You're
a
them.
huge perimeter, and yeah, you're not. We're not in that club, and either are they. It's not. Well, it's not. They just want your vote. They don't care about you at all. So yeah, they have a huge perimeter around the DNC. It's not even at the RNC. Just about anybody could go in. You have to go through a security checkpoint, but you could go into the hotel and hang out, grab some coffee. But yeah, not that with a DNC. So they have a huge perimeter set up outside the United Center, and you can't get very close to it without the cops. But yes, also terrible fencing. It's like just pulling a door off of its hinges or something. It was pretty easy, so that was a big mistake. You'd think they would have figured that out.
But there's no builder, Blake. There's no builder, mystery guest, who would design a door to your front home, the front of your home or the back of your home, your main entrance or egress door, with the hinges on the outside. You don't do that. Nobody does that. The DNC did that. That's a little wacky. Just keep your eyes peeled. What in the hell? Okay, moving on. You get the point. So Global X Airlines being used by Biden and Kamala. They're apparently using them to shuttle illegal aliens across the United States using taxpayer dollars. So it's time to call Global X for congressional questioning, says DC Drano, in asking if their executives are getting rich off of the open border crisis, Blake. What say you, the companies that are involved in this? I don't remember when anyone voted to open the borders and move large populations into the country when we're already having rampant inflation. The jobs numbers have been revised horribly, by the way. That's in the stack. And just watching this happen, the people that are making money off this, Blake.
Yeah, no, I agree. And people have a right to know, why are they sneaking these people in the middle of the night over the border? What are they doing? What is the plan? And I want to know what the people that want to vote these guys in. What is the border policy, and why would you want to support that?
Well, here's another policy, Blake. Georgia Democrats now charging residents to remove ineligible voters. A federal judge ruled that Georgia counties were required to remove ineligible voters if challenged by a resident of the state. After True the Vote announced they were challenging 364,000 voters, Democrats passed a rule charging $10, an estimated $10 each, for every ineligible voter that's been removed from the rolls. Isn't that a vote tax, a voting tax, Blake? What?
Poll tax, kind of.
Trying to add $10 to 364,000 people that don't exist. They have no business being on the voter rolls.
Yeah, it's like a reverse poll tax. They used to do that, and it was kind of like racist to charge people to vote. Now they're trying to charge you to remove their illegitimate voters.
So interesting. I also read a report that there were 90, and forgive me if my number's slightly off, something like 95 voters in California who were born in 1850 are still on the rolls, the voter rolls. Do these get turned into ballots that are then delivered in stacks and you don't quite know where to look, and the ballots aren't labeled, they're not watermarked, you don't know where they're coming from, there's no barcode, no UPC, no little scanner code. Every potential fake vote, Blake, could turn into something transformative.
Exactly. It's an organized effort with as little transparency and oversight as possible. And yeah, they got dirty voter rolls that they can use to their advantage.
Yeah, I like
squeeze out any populist candidate that gives them any threat.
Yeah, I like same-day voting. I like paper ballots. I'm cool with making it a national holiday. Make President's Day voting day. Like, combine them. Figure it out. I'm fine with that. Talking about transparency, Blake, there's an FBI whistleblower, according to DC Drano here, saying that he's testified under oath that the FBI will not allow 11,000 hours of January 6 footage to be released because it would expose undercover agents committing crimes inside the Capitol. DC Drano continues saying, not only was J6 a Fed setup, as we were talking about Ray Epps and border security and barriers and barricades and inside jobs. But now it's confirmed that the FBI is also covering its tracks. You know, we yelled very loudly, very consistently, and I kept calling former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who promised to release the J6 footage, and he refused to do it. So we called and called and called and called, and then they kicked him out. Johnson hasn't released it. So allegedly 11,000 hours is sitting there on the chopping block floor. They're not allowed to release this footage because it implicates themselves. They've investigated themselves, Blake, and found no evidence of wrongdoing, especially when you don't get to see these 11,000 hours. What do you make of this?
I think a lot of that people at the top of the FBI should be dragged in for questioning if they need to be, because there's a major corruption problem there, and they are hiding things from the American people that they shouldn't. And it looks like, yeah, they could have been absolutely engaged in provocateuring and getting people riled up to do stupid things, and then arresting them, and then saying, "Oh, sorry, we can't release that evidence."
By the way, it's an ongoing investigation.
Right. Well, correct, but just
forever. JFK, it's ongoing. We have to hold this for 50 years. I'm sorry, did we say 50? We meant 1,000,000 plus one. Infinity plus 1 years. Laura Loomer, this is what we were referencing a moment ago. She's saying AOC lied tonight. Her family home was never in foreclosure because she was out there saying her home in Yorktown Heights was never in foreclosure. Not a super big story, but interesting nonetheless. Blake, here's a good trend. Acting like drunk Kamala is now going viral on TikTok. These are vacationing ladies. They're acting like drunk Kamala. Here we go. There you go. Do the drunken Kamala, Blake. Is this a trend that's going to sweep the nation?
yeah, why not? Sounds good. I'm on board.
On board. We mentioned this a moment ago, talking about the numbers that have been revised regarding our economy. You said 23% for going out costs. Bullshit. It's more like 50 to 75% up. But this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, according to Wall Street Silver, saying that they have been lying about the job numbers. And guess what? 1 million jobs are disappearing. 1 million jobs. Oh, we're going to have to slightly revise our latest numbers, Blake. Yeah, we were off by 1 million. Hodge twins are saying they just vanished out of thin air. They lied to us. Are these lies, or are these just, rounding errors? It's par for the course. It's just what
They've been
happens.
messing with those numbers for a long time. So
It's hard to
par for the
believe
course.
any numbers.
Right.
It really is. Did you see Kamala at the Sheets where she went in to buy some Doritos, like that wonkily staged situation? That was really weird. And that video coming out, it's interesting because her administration sued the family-owned business in April of 2024, just a few months ago. Kind of interesting how the proponents of free trade, capitalism, kind of it clashes when they
Right. Reality meets fantasy. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole Sheets, it's just, they're a weird, cringy family. They're not good actors, not good actresses. It's a little strange. Speaking of strange, I'm sorry, let's say weird because that's the phrase that we use. Trump was mentioned 147 times on day one of the DNC, whereas the RNC, they focused on where they're headed, not where they've been. And Biden was mentioned twice in all 4 days, but they did it 147 times yesterday. Blake, here's a quick 20. Do the dance. Do the dance. Blake, they are obsessed with Donald Trump, these people.
Yeah. Trump arrangements, and it's real. It's all they do. They have nothing of substance except to attack Trump all day and crazy MAGA.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, continuing on what we mentioned about these lying statistics here, the federal numbers up to 1 million U.S. jobs vanishing. This might be the largest downward revision in 15 years, according to Bloomberg. Also, according to people with Trump derangement syndrome, I did see this guy yesterday. I had a question lined up. I was ready to fire it. He spun at the last second. I had a hunch if I would have asked him, he would have given me something ridiculous. So this is what we found yesterday. This guy was at the corner. Did you hear that? That's in his perfect world. He wants this country to only be immigrant. Does that mean he leaves?
I don't know. No, it's just apparently it's just Republicans. So
Okay.
World. I hope he gets that world in his own way. And to right, I think that would be a big mistake. You would regret that at some point.
Yeah, they're termed
No
useful
culture,
idiots.
No America, right? So we're gonna lose everything that made this country great and replace it with people who don't have the same beliefs, same culture. Bad news. But yeah, they was talking about putting Republicans in concentration camps.
Oh yeah.
So this guy's pretty deranged. But,
Oh, this is the same guy that said
Yeah.
that? Yeah, he's full of stuff. There you go. So that's your party. You know, that's solid wisdom if you are looking for that. This Blake yesterday, here's an overhead view. This is Democrats who want to defund the police, of course, unless the police are surrounding the DNC to protect them. Like we said, the presence was huge, but they've been yelling for 8 straight years about how cops are bad and defund the police. Yet, look at this. That seems a little hypocritical.
Short-sighted theories, yeah, I know it doesn't make any sense in the real world. Yeah, and there's a lot of libertarian anarchists too, who are just anti-cop. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm sure things would be great if we just send it into anarchy. It'll be a peaceful, idealistic anarchy. No, it won't. Things will go to shit. Yeah, there's a corruption problem with police, but they serve a valuable function in our society, and we do. Yeah, they need them just as much as anybody.
Maybe more.
Right.
If the police were not there, I wonder what those protesters would have done to the DNC. Imagine if there was no police present. There were no fences.
Yeah.
Would they have stormed the convention
A
center?
real insurrection.
100% certain of that. This is coming out from Posobiec. He's saying that a local cop, Blake, not the Secret Service, was the one who shot the Trump rally shooter, and that they lied about what happened. So they're saying that it was a local cop that took out the patsy. This is kind of coming out today.
Well, if
Or
that's
yesterday.
true, then yeah, it appears to be 100% a setup, and they had no intention of doing anything to stop the shooter from getting Trump. They only intended to shoot the shooter afterwards, so they couldn't testify later. They told me to. Yeah, no, don't want any loose ends.
That sums it up perfectly. And I think as we unpack that story a little bit and get some more information, we're going to keep covering that. But we want to give you the quick highlight on that. It's never been more obvious that thing was a setup. This is somebody outside of the DNC with people walking in, and he has an idea. We talked about the drunk Kamala. College girls are doing the drunk Kamala impersonation. It's sweeping the nation, I suppose. So this guy has a theory. Not for Kamala's rehab, but money donated so that she can keep drinking. Blake, is this a good idea? We want a drunker Kamala. She's been referred to as America's wine mom. She's a wine snob. She appears to be inebriated almost half the time she opens her mouth.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of suspicion about that she's an alcoholic, and she has those really awkward moments in public. She does appear that she is drunk. And there are people blowing the whistle saying, it does appear like she was drunk. Like if there were cops, they would, pull her over if they were the way she talks in public, and she'd be in trouble. I don't know, but I've seen enough from her. It seems to be a growing trend, and that's very possible. And I know Gavin Newsom's also admitted he's an alcoholic. I think he actually is doing some kind of treatment. It's going to be difficult for Kamala. It's not going to look good for her image. So they're going to try to protect it, but the secret is out, and now she is being exposed as a drunk.
Secret's out. So that she's never sober again. So, the trolls are out in full force, and that's part of how things work. This is from the Babylon Bee. Rumors are swirling that Kamala Harris is being influenced by a Russian agent. That Russian agent is a bottle of Smirnoff vodka.
Right. Yeah.
The Babylon Bee remains undefeated. Thank you for that one. Yeah, this is interesting from Hillary Clinton, one of the worst people ever. Let's hear her words. Okay, hold on, Blake. You're saying
I
what?
might have an issue with the sound or the sound's not coming through for some of the people that are watching these videos. And we've been really going through your timeline for a long time. I don't know if people are having issues.
Okay, so question of the day. Type in there right now. Can you hear the videos that we're playing? Our understanding is that just like every show we do, you can hear them, but Blake is reading some comments. We can't see it. Hear your vids.
Videos aren't coming through.
It says I'm sharing this page right here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so question of the day. Type in there right now. Can you hear the videos that we're playing? Just like every told you, that Restream did a weird update, and I don't know what to do about that, honestly. So,
All right, well, we can stop with the videos for now. It's been the 51-minute lightning round, Brian.
Well, RFK Jr. dropping out and endorsing Trump is a much bigger story than 10-year-olds choosing their gender.
All right, we can skip a few of those.
No, it's just so weird because I'm looking at it. It's Hillary Clinton. Can you hear this clip? Yeah, boo, they're doing.
As Vice President, Kamala sat in the Situation Room.
Bragging about Democrats weaponizing the justice system against Trump. Nodding and smirking as the crowd chants, "Lock them up."
But Donald Trump fell asleep.
There you go. So she's nodding and smirking with the crowd chanting, "Lock him up, Blake. Lock him up."
Yeah, that's interesting optics for them.
Yeah, Viva Frey is commenting that there's not a single American flag in that crowd. Of course, you could take the picture at any point, but Blake, you can't go to a Trump event and not see American flags all over the place. It's just weird that you don't see any in that crowd. There's flags everywhere. You at the Palestine event or the Gaza event, flags everywhere. Everybody has flags. How are there no American flags on the floor of the convention? That's a little weird, to use their word, their favorite word, their buzzword.
Yeah, they don't like this party. They're trying to change this country into something else.
This video here, Chicago resident is explaining the migrant crisis in her words, just like we heard in the Bronx. This is what they're doing, and this is how the Chicago residents feel about this.
Tell me what's going on with the migrant crisis here in Chicago.
So I will tell you right now, I'm a person that lives on the south side of Chicago, and the migrants that have come in, at one point they were coming in, we were feeling very sorry for them because they came in at a time where the weather was cold. So we're seeing all these people in tents and all this and that, but then we find out that they're getting $15,000 in food stamps, $5,000 in cash. I work for a company, which I will not say, that they're able to come in and they're able to get internet and Wi-Fi and all of this for free because guess what? The government are paying their rent for 2 years. Why is the government paying people that came from another country rent for 2 years? Can we explain that? Because it's a housing crisis right now with multiple homeless people on the streets right now that I could follow and show you homeless people that's been living on the streets. So what makes the migrants better from coming to another country that they get all of this? You know why? I'm going to say why. Because we're about to have another presidential election. So if we make these migrants democratic and we give them the right to vote and we give them all of these things, they're going to vote. And then, boom. I'm a Trump supporter, by the way.
Blake, that's the plan?
I think that's.
Tell me what's going on with the migrant crisis.
They can't. They have to win at all costs, even if that's importing the third world. And I just hope the regular Democrats see that, the hypocrisy, these illegal aliens being given all these benefits while the real people here, citizens, are suffering.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying in the Bronx. That's what people are upset that they're struggling. Why aren't resources being used to help Americans that are here right now? That people are on your streets right now who need help. Why are we adding extra burden to that situation? This is tongue in cheek, a Kamala Harris new presidential ad celebrating Democrat cities. Here you go.
This is our town. We've got steel in our spines, iron in our veins, and hope in our hearts. We've got the flavor, the guts, the grit, and those big shoulders you've heard so much about. We're a bold city, a proud city, a who you callin' second city, where 77 neighborhoods are one. A city of giants, a city with heart, a city with heroes, a sweet, sweet place to call home. We were born ready, baptized by fire, tireless, tenacious, tested, trusted. And like someone else we know, when we fight, we win. We're ready to rise to the challenge, to rise to new heights. Rise, rise, rise. Up, up, and away we go. Hey, make some noise so we can hear you, America.
There's that cringy moment inside the gas station.
Welcome to Chicago.
It's nice to be here for the Democratic national catastrophe, Blake.
Sure is.
It's been nice though. I gotta say, I've enjoyed being in Chicago for these 2 days. I've been away from Chicago for 20 years. I haven't hung out here, and it's like all I see on the news is like shootings and bad stuff. But like I don't know, the city seems cool.
Yeah, it's a nice place to visit. Wouldn't want to live here, but yeah, we're in a decent spot. North side of Chicago is not so bad. And yeah, it's iconic. I used to want to move here, but city's changed.
This is true. By the way, here's another one, and then we'll just jump into our stories. If you want to see the rest of the stuff that we're finding, go to American_media_ on X, and Blake is at TV's Blake Walley. But this is a video here, a captured video of the alleged Trump shooter at 4:26 p.m. before the assassination attempt. Just kind of cruising through. Look at that. There he is. Pronouns are was, were. I don't know, Blake. Do we have any conviction that the person, I don't even like saying his name, that's why I'm kind of dancing through the topic there. Are you confident that's the guy that took the shots?
Not 100%, no, definitely not. I mean, he was in the BlackRock commercial or something weird, so he might have been, I don't know, one of the patsies, and somebody else took a shot. It's really hard to say. We'd like to know from the FBI, but it doesn't seem like they want to. They're in no hurry to release information so far.
Right. Yeah, and then once again, local cop shot the. Local cop is the one that took the shot, and Representative Clay Higgins was the one who had to tell us the truth about that. It's kind of weird that they didn't put that story out there and that they've been holding on to it for so long. It really is.
Yeah, they won't even give the guy credit because they were probably mad at him for doing that. They did not want that to happen. They're trying to keep the cops there just as their regular presence, but they weren't supposed to do anything. But eventually there wasn't enough communication, and they had to go out and actually do their jobs. The Secret Service people, if that's what we want to call them, whoever these people were there by design, and they had deliberately, I think, gotten rid of some of the threat assessors out of the staff, and it wasn't like the typical arrangement with Secret Service. So, yeah, this looks like a failed assassination attempt by the deep state, and luckily local cops intervened, a couple of them, one to kind of throw the guy off, just by getting his attention.
Yeah, they pushed him up, and he climbed up, and the guy turned and aimed at him, and he fell off. I guess he hurt his ankle and his wrist pretty bad or something like that.
Yeah, moments before the shooter took a shot. So just to kind of threw him off a little bit, and then an actual other local cop is the one that shot the shooter.
Because at 130 yards, that's a layup. that's a layup. And it was directly in front. Like, if there's one building you stay on the roof of, it's
But
that
he still
one.
moved his head at the last second anyway. So he didn't have him.
Yeah, I know. So thankfully, we're on the timeline that did not occur. All right, let's get to the timeline where we dig into today's top stories. If there's any story that you think we missed, type it into the comments section below and just give us the reminder that, hey, you should mention this thing. It's really big. Or this just broke within the last hour that you've been live. And we'll try to get to that. All right, here we go. All right now. Yes, the Lord did help. I talked to several people on our YouTube or Rumble account. We talked to a few people. Lady had a Jesus flag. I said, is Jesus on the ballot in 2024? She said, no. But then I asked, I said, was Jesus involved in that attempted assassination attempt? You can hear what she has to say. Sweet, sweet woman. I loved our chat. But that's on the YouTube and the Rumble account for the New American Media. Subscribe and follow that. Okay, Blake, agree or disagree that Kamala Harris is afraid to have a debate with Donald Trump?
Oh, that new share screen is instant and it takes over everything. Oh, there's
another
spot for our faces. Oh, okay. There we go.
Indeed.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to say she is afraid to have a debate with Donald Trump, and she will not participate, at least in the September 4th version on Fox News. I guess because maybe they won't rig it for her, or maybe she's probably afraid of somebody like, an honest guy like Bret Baier kind of holding her accountable, because he would be the type of guy who could fact check in real time and push back. So that would not be an ideal situation for Kamala. So she is going to duck that one. Favor of maybe a more friendly place. Maybe like a sports team, like, oh, we're not going to play on the road. We're not going to play in Wrigley Field. No, you're going to have to play at the stadium we want. So you can't have any kind of advantage unless it's on it for her. So, yeah, I'll just have to say she's afraid. Why not? If Trump was willing to do it on CNN with Joe and Kamala and everybody, he hasn't ducked any of them. He just said he didn't want to do it on the ABC because he had some pending lawsuit, or he had some issues with the network and would rather. But I think he's still agreeing to it. He's certainly not backing down, but she's been tough to pin down.
It's complicated in the regard where if you're going to agree to one, you should have just agreed to all of them. They're going to try to run Joe Biden from the basement 2.0. They don't want Kamala to be speaking to the public. The more she talks, the less people like them. They call it the John Kasich effect. The generic Democrat polls much better than a specific Democrat. Once you're able to pin somebody down and really point out all the ways that you're not supposed to like them, the numbers drop. So they successfully, air quotes, successfully got away with running Joe Biden from the basement in 2020. And that's really, they're trying to replicate that same exact strategy this election cycle. I don't know if it's going to work, but I think Trump needs to debate her as much as possible. You need to get her talking, and they do not want that. So I think that's the right strategy. But is there a way for Trump to get her to participate? Or is it just they're going to be at the mercy of them declining?
Yeah, it appears, more she can control it, less she can be out there. Yes, I think that's absolutely the strategy they're going to go with.
All right, so Kamala is afraid, and that's what we have. Blake, you had this in the stack. I know we touched on that. We had a video of the shooter. We showed a little bit of something that the local sniper was the one, or the local cop was the one that took out the bad guy, where it seemed like everybody else was letting him hang out until he completed his task. At least a couple of people intervened. I believe you had something pulled up as well.
Yeah, it's from Tom Fitton, a watchdog group, saying the FBI is hiding records on the Trump assassination attempt. So the FBI cited Freedom of Information Act exemption to protect ongoing enforcement proceedings surrounding the incident. in Butler, Pennsylvania, when Thomas Crooks was able to shoot at Trump despite being spotted behaving suspiciously hours beforehand. So they asked, this judicial watch asked the FBI to produce all relevant documents pertaining to its preparation and coordination with the Secret Service for Trump's rally. However, they've been stonewalled and is leaving questions as to why there was seemingly a delay in taking out Crooks before the shooting unanswered. And now we're also getting the revelation that it was the cop that shot, and he probably wasn't supposed to. That wasn't his job. It was the Secret Service people or the FBI or whoever. So now they're trying to cover up what looks like an FBI operation.
Yeah, really strange stuff. And thank you to the people in Congress that are pushing. We need more whistleblowers inside of Butler, more whistleblowers inside the Secret Service. And honestly, we need a national apology project. We need people who feel guilty about how they participated in really bad shit to kind of clear their conscience, clear their soul, dump it all out on the table, apologize. The National Apology Project. I've been pushing this for a while. I think there's an enormous amount of good that you can do while you still have your soul in this earthly body. And I think owning up and admitting to and exposing some of this stuff is something that could really cleanse the soul. And I hope we get some more whistleblowers to put these records out there, Blake, and just tell us the real story about what happened.
I guess so. Yeah, wait for people to put their careers on the line. But it's sad that it's come to that. But yes, need some interrogation of top people in the FBI.
All right.
And Secret Service. There's still like 4 more people that need to go. Like a whistleblower from the Secret Service addressed 5 people, and the director stepped down. But there's still a lot of bad people at the top.
All right. Hello to Unholy Hoax. Thanks for the kind words, saying it's a great show and they appreciate the election coverage. Kamala the Airhead B&B. Yes. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Leave your comments. If there's any story we missed, type it in the comments. Make sure we're covering all the important stuff today. And I think let's jump into the next topic here. All right here. So Blake, do you agree or disagree that Western civilization is going to end due to illegal migrant invasion? What say you? Agree or disagree?
Yeah, it certainly could. If we have enough people from the third, if you're importing the third world, we'll become the third world. And pretty soon we won't have the same culture or ideals. And then if we just, in this system where everybody can vote, then you'll never vote your way back into it, which I guess is probably the point. And the Democrats will do that as long as they stay in power. What do they care? So let me pull up the story.
Yeah, there's I was just gonna say there's a quote. It's something about burning it down and being the king of a pile of rubble. Like that's what it seems like the Democrats are doing. They don't mind. They will rule the smoldering ash heap of what the country used to be, just to be in charge. They don't care if it all collapses, and a lot of them hate this place. Geez, I found more love from a socialist, perhaps misguided socialist, but he said if you build a perfect socialist candidate, and he said American socialism is America first, he said that person needs to be patriotic. You don't hear that from the Democrat Party. It's really just regurgitating the angry teachers, professors, college administrators who just nonstop rail about why this country's terrible. It's like, yeah, it's also awesome. I don't know, maybe like the place that you're in and try to make it better, but spending all your time hating on a place, it doesn't seem really productive here, Blake. But yeah, Western civilization is worth fighting for, I think.
Right. Well, look at the warnings here from Great Britain, and we do have a couple stories about that. They're saying Great Britain, all schools from now on will have courses on misinformation and the dangers of extremist content online. Children will be told that British citizens who protest against open borders are dangerous and that they must be fought with critical thinking, their version of whatever critical thinking is. So just anything that's critical of the truth. They're saying this is according to Leo Homan on his Substack. A better word for it would be brainwashing or sensitivity training. And if globalists are successful, the next generation of Brits will think it's unacceptable to question, the authority of Allah or the God of Islam. I mean, this isn't just one opinion for one country, but certainly if this is happening in France or Sweden, Ireland, Scotland, many other countries, as well, of course, as it's going to be coming to the United States soon as they continue to import people who are not from here and just over the border, not because they, understand our civics and laws and are productive people who are looking for a better life. It's just anyone who, hires a coyote, gets through the Rio Grande or whatever way they get through here. It's very sad.
Yeah, immigration used to be, all right, you need to show up, you get in line, there's other people ahead of you, and you learn about the country, you take a civics test, you learn the language, you assimilate, you become a part of the melting pot. By melting, that's all just out the window, is like a quaint memory from a not so distant past. It just seems like a black and white episode of Andy Griffith or something to think about that, but that's what American immigration used to be at its highest ideals. You get the best of the best. And they say, oh, well, look, that Lady Liberty over there, who may or may not be a lady. I saw that report. That was weird to look at. But, oh, give us your tired, your weak, and this and that. It's like, yeah, that was a gift from France. That's fine. But in America, you do the best of the best. You raise this country up as much as you can. A rising tide raises all boats. And it's one thing to take the best of the best people from every country on earth. And it just, when you average those out, the level of exceptionalism in America is increased. It's fantastic. But when you're not even skimming, you're not even running background checks, DNA tests. I saw hundreds of thousands of children are missing from the people who have come across the border, and Harris is not tracking this as borders are, then she's complicit in human trafficking. This is not good. This is not a net positive. Any criminal that has a violent past that should have never been here, that didn't get filtered out in the initial filtration process at the border, that's on the Democrats. That's tough to get past, Blake.
Yeah, it's weird. Things have changed dramatically. It's not good. Elections are too high stakes, and people crave the power, and they'll be willing to do really terrible things to stay in power. That includes changing this country completely around.
Selling your country out.
Yeah.
Good times. Okay, next. All right, so how about this one, Blake? Agree, disagree that voter photo identification laws are burdensome and unnecessary?
I'm going to disagree on that one.
Disagree?
But, of course, not the Democrats that are in the United Center right now would probably disagree with us. So here we go. But yeah, demand ID to get into the convention, but not to vote for president.
Make it make sense, Blake. Make it make sense.
It doesn't. That's the point. The Biden-Harris administration has called voter photo identification laws burdensome and unnecessary. The administration has left hundreds of thousands of unvetted illegal immigrants pour across the border with no questions about who they are. The administration's political party has implemented ID requirements for anybody who wants to attend the DNC. So they must show proof of identity for security screening to pass through the perimeter and the physical barriers that we saw yesterday, Brian. In fact, Chicagoans who live in the areas around the United Center where the roads will be closed will still be able to go in and out of their homes, but they are only allowed guests as long as those guests have a photo ID.
Oh.
So it's insane.
Isn't this a sanctuary city?
Yep. So it's massive hypocrisy.
Yeah, if they don't do the thing that they're preaching, then you need to stop listening to them. That's it. If they don't leave their home unlocked at night, you don't believe them that they should have their border open at night and unlocked. It's just common sense, people. If you're still buying what the Democrats are selling, I implore you to please consider ditching that party forever and asking all your friends to do the same, shunning them and mocking them when they try to discuss their policies and their puppets.
That'll go over well. It never does.
When they discuss their
is-
policies and puppets in public.
Right. Maybe, yeah. I wish there was a way to break through. I don't understand it. But yeah, you talk about ID and the requirement, they're tantamount to racism, suppression, and Jim Crow apartheid.
Yeah.
So it's insane. But we're seeing the hypocrisy firsthand with the security perimeter here.
Yes, we are. Okay, next topic. All right, people. Agree to disagree. Blake, do you agree that we should release violent prisoners to make room for thought criminals?
No, that sounds fucking insane. But I guess that's not so much in the UK, where they will be violent criminals will be released. So is the Labour government, and I want to feel sympathy, but I'm not seeing a lot of pushback that this was a stolen election. So that means the British people actually voted for these insane policies.
But who are the Brits that are voting? The people that just showed up in that country and took it over?
I don't know, because
it's like a new.
It's. But I'm not hearing that, so I'm not seeing anything about. Oh my God! Like when 2020 happened, like there was an uproar over 6 swing states and a lot of the shenanigans that happened, and Georgia or Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania. But I'm not hearing that out of the UK. So I'm just assuming that they voted for this. They're voting for their own demise. So the Labour government now set to release thousands of criminals, including those convicted for violence, in order now to make room for prisoners sentenced in connection with rioting, which includes people who made inflammatory posts on social media. So they've ordered the release of 2,000 prisoners on a single day next month, in addition to a second group up to 1,700 who will be released in October. So criminals who have served 40% of their sentence or more will be freed, partly to make space for the Brits convicted in their role for any anti-immigration riots that have happened there in the past few weeks. So they are getting ready. So be careful of what you post on social media. I guess if you're over there, even though they are trying to extradite Americans, they push that threat as well. So this is going to be their new normal. So,
and if Great Britain has become that hostile to the United States, I think it's only fair that we change our partnership with them. We need to re-examine our role in NATO. I mean, completely get out of it. Let them deal with what's happening over there. If they're going to try to extradite Americans, listen, pal, we fought you once. We don't listen to what you say. We don't give a shit what you have to tell us, what your edicts are. You can pound sand, okay? But I think this has to change the diplomatic relations between these two countries, because anyone that's threatening to kidnap an American for our First Amendment God-given rights that you can't take away, I think you've stepped into some dangerous waters there. I think there needs to be a much stronger, much more vocal pushback on this type of stuff, Blake. I don't think we're going to get it from Biden Harris, but we'd get it from Trump.
Right.
And so the people that might not think there's much of a difference in policy between, I don't know, Republicans, Democrats, they're all the same. Blake, what would you imagine Trump saying to Great Britain about this? He goes over there, he shakes hands, does a press conference, and during the meet and greet time, what would you imagine Trump would say about this?
There is no way he would hand over Americans, even people he disagreed with, and just hand them over to the UK government. But I could not say the same thing about Kamala or Tim Walz. They would probably embrace that kind of a policy. They'd love to throw people away.
By the way, I
criticizing them as well.
Oh, I want to give Kenneth some props here on this joke. He asked, have you priced the pound of sand lately? Told him to pound sand, but it's a double entendre because the pound is the currency in Great Britain. I know there's the pound and then there's the euro, but the pound of sand, pounding sand, and the pound is the unit of bartering and exchanging goods. Well done. I like that, Kenneth. That's a kudosian moment there for you. Golf clap. Pound sand. That was me trying to not swear. I sometimes get fired up and I look through my Rolodex of, well, I need to emphasize this point, and I usually end up cussing. But I think like Howard Stern, when he was doing his show, I liked that he was forced into not swearing with terrestrial radio. So he had to get really creative, and it was funnier, the things that they came up with that weren't technically swears, but they were so much more vivid and vile and descriptive than if you had just sworn. So anyway, pound sand, thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that moment. Okay, so yeah, releasing violent prisoners to make room for thought criminals. Pound sand. We need Trump in office as soon as possible to tell them, don't you dare threaten our citizens. Apologize. I would love for Trump to just kind of rub the, like if a dog pees on the floor or something, you're like, no, don't do this. And you rub their nose in it and you're like, no, don't do that. I'd love for Trump to do that to the leader of the UK. How dare you? How dare you? Anyway, okay. Releasing violent prisoners, bad idea. Okay, next topic. All right, Blake, agree or disagree that chromosomes don't determine biological sex? Feelings do. What say you?
I am going to disagree. That just sounds insane, but I am not an astrophysicist, Brian.
Oh, God, they trot this guy out. I wonder what type of blackmail they have on this dude. He is like the go-to debunker that's debunking himself, and he just keeps going.
Yeah, Tim Ant's also Bill Nye the Science Guy. They really like to prop these guys up.
Mhm.
Because they're obviously educated. They're smart people, but they have just horrendous political takes. And this is not even scientific anymore. I don't know what Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, you're right, Brian. A lot of people have been pointing that out. He must be like deeply blackmailed with some of these takes. Like he was freaking out a month ago or so about that, biological men and women's sports and how that really didn't seem to make a difference. And he got him like really animated and childish in the way that he was arguing about it. And now he's saying he's taking pride in communicating science. And here he's explaining that chromosomes don't determine if you're male or female. This is from a prominent scientist who, we used to have credibility. He is throwing it away with every hot take that he comes up.
The XXXY chromosome.
Let's pull this back. Oh, I can hear that. Let's go one more time.
The XXXY chromosomes are insufficient because when we wake up in the morning, we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender of our choice. Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt.
Brian, do you get faced with this dilemma every morning? You wake up and you have a decision. Do I want to be a male or a female today? What do I want to do? I want to put on some makeup and a dress, or do you want to put on a muscle shirt?
Where does this ideology come from? Like where does this, because it filters down from the top. There is a top, and that's not a top and bottom. That's not a sexual thing. I'm not getting into that, but like these edicts come down and then they have their every step down from the top. Everybody has to repeat this stuff. They were trying to push this stuff in college, and we're sitting there in class going, what are you talking about? What even is this? And if you want to wear something, wear what you want. But it's a strange fixation that they have on this topic, Blake. I don't fully understand it, but in relation to chromosomes and competition in sports, if your chromosome includes a Y in sports, you must compete with guys. That's not to be mean. That's not to be anti this or anti that. Be you. But if there's a woman, the fairer sex, who are competing against other women, If you have a Y chromosome, you have a testosterone advantage that someone pummeling you could lead to injury in an unfair way. So I just don't understand where this is coming. Who is outraged by reality, common sense, and protecting the fairer sex from being pummeled by somebody who has an unfair competitive advantage?
Right. Now they're trying to use like mainstream scientists to, add credibility to their arguments. And it's just weird. Listening to him, and it's like his voice cracking as he's making these insane arguments. I don't know what happened to him. So whether he's blackmailed or maybe they cloned him and that's not him, maybe he's watching and just screaming in horror, like, oh, what are they making me look like? They're destroying my career. But it's insane. I hope there's an explanation for these things someday, because it doesn't sound very scientific to me.
Yes, Kenneth is saying today he'll tuck. All right, thank you for letting us know.
Oh, nice tuck-friendly bathing suit. Yeah,
tuck-friendly Tuesday. Hey, tell people about your show tonight if you can make it.
I don't know if
advertise it either way. By the way.
Well, yeah, you guys definitely check out the Toxically Masculine Tuesday. That'll be tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be with Mike Barra, Trail Boss Steve Doran, and Dr. Brooks Agnew. Brian and myself may participate. But we are planning to be out in the field. And so I might have to be calling in on a phone. I'm not sure if we're going to get a good connection. But yeah, that's just, we're getting called into duty. So I won't be able to be there at that specific normal regular time. You guys should check it out anyway. They always have they also have great information on the Trump assassination attempt. So you definitely want to tune in for that show, one of the best roundtables on the internet, even if I'm not there. Just for once. All right.
All right. Final topic. All right, Blake, do you agree or disagree? Once again, it's kind of in the realm of Neil deGrasse Tyson, continuing this fixation on gender and sex and biology and chromosomes. Agree, disagree. The 10-year-olds are perfectly capable of choosing their gender.
Well, again, that's another one I would think is insane, but apparently Tim Walz thinks that's okay. 10-year-olds can choose their own gender, and young men should be allowed in female restrooms.
I would have never got, as a straight male, I would have never gone to a boys' restroom if there was an option to use the ladies' room. Ladies are cleaner than boys, generally speaking. Oh, come on. You can't put prepubescent and adolescent men and women together. We're separated for a reason. You don't do that, Blake.
Well, yeah, that seemed to be common sense for hundreds, if not thousands of years. But not anymore. Not with today's Democrat Party. So
Tim Walz he says 10-year-olds can choose their gender and young men should be in female restrooms. I don't get how they picked Walz. I don't get the upside here.
Now you're seeing it. Why? This is perfect with the latest agenda. So this is everything. This fits in perfectly. Now we get the real reason.
Okay. Well,
so
yeah,
he's got a lot of very controversial opinions.
Tim Walz, radical. Kamala Harris, radical. Do you want radical or do you want cheaper energy prices? Do you want better border security? A little bit more law and order and safety? And maybe dial back and wind down and negotiate some peace in some of these ongoing conflicts of money laundering for the military-industrial complex? Yeah, I don't think Walz Harris are going to give you anything you're looking for, folks. Republican Party is far from perfect, but Trump has taken them, dragged the wheel, and charted a better course. And I think if he teams up with more libertarians, they're going to have an even better course this next time around, especially with everything Trump has learned from his first 4 years and the last 4 years getting attacked. You got to imagine he's going to be able to govern in a much better way, surrounded by better people than the first time, right?
Well, that's what we worry about, is whether he's got the right people around him. A lot of people have been called out by that, and hopefully they'll get it sorted out, because we cannot afford, can't afford 4 years of Biden, Kamala, Walz, whatever, but we also can't afford to have 4 years of Trump if he's surrounded by deep state neocon goons that are going to keep him in a box, and the Democrat Party and the Uniparty and the rest of the neocons are going to just keep running up impeachments and phony investigation, fishing expeditions. So yeah, it needs to be very efficient.
I referenced the child trafficking stuff. What is this one you had pulled up?
Oh, it's just this is transgender trafficking stuff, or this is a bill that Tim Walz picked. So it's just it's a lot of controversial opinions.
Yeah, he's
it's okay if you're a teacher, you want to protect students. I get that, but allowing 10-year-olds to pick gender, that could be like, you don't want to alter your body in any way. That's just that's bad news. It starts to cause like a mental illness. Sure, protect the people that need to be protected, but they're making an epidemic out of things that I just don't think there's that many people that this would apply to, but they're trying to make this seem like it's more normal than it really is.
And anyone suffering from gender dysphoria, we love you. Like you're human, you're loved as you are. Please, just the encouragement to the same way that if you were dating somebody and they tried to shame you, saying that you need to get a breast implants to be loved. You're nothing. You're nothing unless you get these big fake boobies. All right. Well, that's kind of lousy to say to somebody.
Well, it's Brian, I lived in Vegas for a long time, and that was the thing. Especially with cocktail waitresses or the strippers. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are like, ooh, they want that, and it's too bad. Sometimes the enhancements are, cool, whatever, do your thing, but it gets a little bit out of control.
But to kind of have it boiled down to you're lesser unless you have alterations made on your body. It's like, it's okay to have your body and love what you are, try to stay in as good a shape as you can. And just, there's no need to go slicing through perfectly functioning plumbing. It leads to a lot of problems. You're loved as you are. You can love who you want. This pressure campaign to try to change people. You can't change chromosomes. You can't change what you are. So maybe ease up on that pressure a little bit.
He's an astrophysicist, Brian, and he disagrees with you. So there's that.
Kenneth making a joke asking if you support the brawlers. We're talking about the political season. Who do you support? Blake and his Las Vegas strippers supporting the brawlers.
Right.
Yes. Well, look. Summing up what we saw in Chicago, Blake, we're going to go out into the convention is going on for the next couple of days, and we're going to be around to see as many good conversations as we can find, try to capture as much interesting protest footage as we can locate. Any thoughts on what we saw the first day and any anticipation of the next couple of days?
I'm hoping for something. I was really hoping we could get really close to the United Center and talk to more of the Democrats and the people that are going to be voting, the delegates, that sort of thing. So we're going to be on the outside of the perimeter and talking to probably largely protesters. And that's cool too. So there's a lot more activity happening on the outside as well. So we'll see. Just get some good interviews. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, we did get to one of the big protests yesterday. It didn't get too out of hand, but the next one I'm hearing even tonight, they're trying to promote this idea of bringing back to 1968, where things are going to get violent. So we're going to be on watch for all of it. I don't want to see things get too out of hand, but yeah, the DNC needs to hear some of these voices and get called out for the hypocrites that they are. But I'm not saying we need to do that by vandalizing or violence or any of that sort of thing. But would like to see them listen and incorporate more voices. But no, it seems to be everything's chosen. They don't really believe in democracy, although they do promote it. So
we'll see. We'll see how the rest of this trip goes. Anytime you go to DC, anytime you go to Milwaukee for the Libertarian or the Republican convention, you just never know how the day is, how the entirety of the day is going to play out, who you're going to run into. And, we'll have a good conversation with anybody anywhere. You never know who that's going to be. So make sure you're following us in all the places. Make sure you connect with Blake Walley. He's on X. He's at TV's Blake Walley. and thenextlevelnews.com if you would like to contribute to Blake's independent journalism endeavors. He's on Cash App, $Blake W 99. Make sure you consider going to that. If you like The New American Media, we are on patreon.com/The New American Media. And as Kenneth always likes to remind me, also Venmo at Brian Engelman, BrianEngelman, because the Chicago trips don't pay for themselves. We appreciate viewers like you who help us participate in stuff like this. Speaking of participation, please participate in subscribing to The New American Media's Rumble account, The New American Media, and find the new videos. I think we put 5 or 6 videos up, and we have more to come. And we got a backlog of other videos coming up as well. Make sure you're following us on Rumble, because that's our backup to YouTube, The New American Media. Subscribe to that one. We got 1,400 videos over 12, 13 years. Lock up with us there. Odyssey, Odyssee. That's our YouTube backup, The New American Media. Our Spotify is the Agree to Disagree Show. Find us there. Please do. Truth Social, The New American Media. Facebook, The New American Media page, and search in groups TNAM for The New American Media. We have about 20 or 30 groups. Good stuff, TNAM. And if you find us, say, how'd you find our private group? Say, Brian invited us, and we'll let you in. Of course, Instagram, that's The New American Media. Find us and follow us in all of the places. We'll be adding new stuff soon. We might try to do that show tonight at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm making sure I still have that right. And we're going to bring you more from Chicago for the 2024 Democrat Convention. Good times, everybody. We're going to sign out for now and continue our endeavors to get the pulse of the city, find out what people are really thinking, instead of just absorbing what you're specifically curated to discover from your feed. Follow us. Yeah. Look, we'll talk to almost anyone, and you never know what people are going to say. The information they volunteer about themselves, it's like, all right, I'm just offering you a chance to talk. I'm not putting words in your mouth. You're the one saying it. So we're going to go do that. We appreciate every one of you joining us in the live chat today.
Yes, thanks everybody.
Yes.
Stay tuned. All right.
To be continued. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.